Hello, Team Destiny. We are live off because it is 92 degrees sunny, and sometimes the live stream shuts off because the phone might overheat. If you see me going like this, that's because I'm literally tapping the back of the phone to see if it's still on. But let me get this rolling. How an introvert can succeed in college. We have a featured comment that I will answer. It's a featured comment and a featured question. So if you have a question, it's a possibility that your question could be featured in our next live stream. Before answering, you know what? Can you see the top of my head? Because see, it's so hot that I really can't even see. Okay, you can see the top of my head. Okay. First, just to get this started, I want you to have the mind frame that college is the time, perfect time, beautiful time, such a blessing for you to mature emotionally, spiritually, socially. College is a time for you to learn who you are, learn new things along the way, so that you can develop all of the skills or the majority of the skills that you need to succeed and to thrive in your career. Therefore, if you realize that you are shy, that you are introverted, then college and even high school is the perfect time for you to work on what it is that you need to work on, so that you are not afraid to ask questions, and so that you are not afraid to be an active participant in your education. Because just as it may take, courage to muster up the strength to ask a question in college to your professor, it also takes courage and confidence to muster up the strength to possibly ask your boss for a raise. So it's all interconnected. And I totally understand, it's totally normal to feel shy, to feel worried about asking your professor a question. Why? Because rejection is possible. There's a possibility you could be rejected. There's a possibility you can be laughed at by your peers. But college is a time for you to experience that. Feel that fear and do it anyway. Face the fear and do it anyway. Especially towards something like this that's positive and that's good for you. So, it's perfectly fine with understanding that your professors should be academic stakeholders in your education. And also just know that you can access your professor for help. You can access student services for help. You can access the academic support center for help. So if you are shy or introverted, you can talk to, most colleges have counselors, student counselors. That's something that you can tell them and share with them, and they will help you along the way. That's what they're there for. Your tuition, that's what your tuition is covering, College is such a financial investment, and you want to make sure that you are maximizing your investment. That's the word that I was looking for, maximizing your investment. And you truly deserve it all. I want the best for you. So, the saying, a closed mouth can't get fed. If you have questions, but if you don't ask them, and if you're not proactive as a student, then you might not be able to thrive as a college student. You have to just know that you are worthy of having your questions answered, and you are worthy of knowing more knowledge, because you should come out of college more confident. You should come out of college being even more knowledgeable than what you were. And if that's not the case, if you come out of college and you haven't acquired more knowledge, something went wrong. Maybe there were some other lurking variables. I don't know. But nevertheless, I pray that this teaching blesses you. And I also pray that, you know, in addition to watching this video, that you also watch the video that complements this, which is 20 wonderful ways to succeed in college, or 20 wonderful ways to excel in college. That leads me to this question by Mel. Hi Mel, this is a featured comment, and on that video that I just referenced to you, 20 wonderful ways to excel in college, Mel left a question. And her question and her comment says, this is, now I'm reading in Mel's voice here. This is Mel's comment. Hi Destiny, just found your channel through this video and I wanted to ask you a question. I know that meeting/conversing with your professors is a necessary component of receiving good grades. But for someone like me who is introverted and shy, what are some conversation starters or topics that I could approach my professor with, as I have a hard time even thinking of something to talk about? Thank you and God bless. Insert purple heart emoji. So there was a purple heart emoji at the end of that comment. Okay, Mel. So the first half of this video already shed light on the mind frame that you should have. Now, to answer your question specifically, some conversation starters or topics that you can ask your professor about. 1, any questions you have about material that you've read, you can ask your professor that. Any questions that you have surrounding material that will possibly be on an exam or a quiz, you should ask your professor about that. Any, after a test, any question that you have on a literal question that was on the exam that you got wrong, I call that test corrections. Ask your professor about that. Well, let me explain that a little bit more just in case it wasn't clear. You take your exam, you get something wrong. You have a question on that, or you need clarity on something. It could be anything, something so small. Ask your professor about that. Midterm, I used to call this mid-semester or midterm semester progress. At the middle of the semester, doesn't matter whether it's spring semester or fall semester, check in with your professor about where you are. Make sure you know what your participation grade is. Make sure you know, basically you're seeing where you stand, because the middle of the semester is a turning point. If you need to improve on something, if your professor has in his or her mind that you should be participating more, he or she may have that in their mind, but if you don't know what's on their mind, or if you haven't asked or inquired, how will you know where to improve on it? So that's why in the middle of the semester you should ask about this. Middle of the semester, ask, is there anything you can improve on? Make sure you know at the middle of the semester what your participation grade is, your exam grade is, your quiz grade, if this is applicable, and your cumulative. So in exams at the middle of the semester, you may be at a 80. Participation may be at a 100. It doesn't necessarily have to be specific numbers. I mean, quite naturally, the more specific, the better. But just gain a general knowledge, a general framework, a general idea of where you stand. And that's what you should say. I just want to know where I stand as of now, so that if there's something that I need to improve on, I can do that. You know? Yeah. Oh, one of my favorites. Something else you can ask your professor. This is what you should do. If you find an article or a current event that is applicable to the class or applicable to some topic that the professor discussed, If you have a question on how the current event or how the article pertains to a concept or a theory that the professor discussed or that the textbook discussed, that's a wonderful question. I'm telling you, that'll really set you apart. That will really take you, elevate you from being just like a mediocre average student to an excellent student. Let me tell you, Mel, and everybody else, I'm giving you the keys here. Some people are so selfish and stingy, and they'll know something, but they won't say it. They will hold it all into themselves. I am the opposite. Doesn't matter. Sorry. I mean, it is what it is. That is such a golden key right there. You know, that right there, bringing in current articles, reading articles or in current events, and seeing how that pertains to the textbook. We'll have to know how maybe changes in regulation or that I'm sharing with you, it's going to build excellent skills for you to thrive as a leader and as a person in the real world. So, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So I'm so glad that I was able to share all of that with you. And right now it says and counting. That's amazing. Also, I want you to understand of you possess it. You have the inner light. It's within you. You know, you have the inner light to be able to you deserve for your questions to be answered. You can do all things through Christ that strengtheneth you. Therefore, there's literally nothing for you to fear. I also have to emphasize that sometimes the college atmosphere, just the social environment on a okay, so the camera shut off because it's too hot, but I have to say this. I'm gonna finish this up very quickly. On a subconscious level, the social environment, sometimes just the way things are structured, with the professor standing, the students are sitting, the professor is lecturing, the students are listening. Sometimes that just socially creates the atmosphere of, it's like the professor has all the answers, the professor's the one that's right, the student is the one that's wrong. But don't allow that social environment or that social structure to deter you from asking your questions. All right. God is good. He is so good. What an amazing teaching you received. This has to get shut off because the phone is overheating. I'll see you next time.